Hi, this is Dave Ford, President and Founder of the Atlantic Gold and Silver Center, and today I'm going to give you 5 compelling reasons to buy gold right now. Number 1. Gold is in a new bull market. From a technical perspective, prices bottomed around $1,200, which was mining cost back in October 2018, and rose 10% before pulling back recently. Prices are above their 200-day moving average. The lows for 2016 were $1,054. The lows for 2017 were $1,127. The lows for 2018 were $1,187. There's a pattern there. We're getting closer and closer to a breakout above a key level, which is $1,350. Reason number 2. Central banks are buying gold. In 2018, central banks around the world started buying gold again. They bought over 650 tons of gold last year, a 74% increase from 2017. And this is the most gold central banks have bought since 1971. Why are they doing it? A couple of reasons. Russia, for example, has been buying a lot of gold, and they have completely got rid of all their US dollar treasuries. They don't want to be dependent on US dollars, because if you use US dollars, US can turn around at any point, cut you off. Your US dollars then become useless. You can't trade in US dollars anywhere in the world. Second one, and this was stated by the Hungarian Central Bank, no counterparty risk. If you hold US dollars, you're at the mercy of the US government. If you hold British pounds, you're at the mercy of the British government. If you hold other types of debts or other types of assets that depend on other people, you've got a counterparty risk. Gold in your vault has no counterparty risk. You're not dependent on anybody else delivering that value for you. It's right there. So, they've turned from big sellers through the 80s and the 90s, when central banks were all selling gold, into big buyers. Their big experiment in fiat currency has failed. Reason number 3, negative interest rates. This is insane. The ECB has already introduced negative rates for larger banks to try and force them to lend, to stimulate the economy, to give loans to businesses and people for mortgages and so on, to stimulate the economy. Instead, they've just turned around and lent the money to governments to allow them to spend more money. But that's beside the point. The US Fed has publicly floated the idea that maybe negative rates are a good idea. The cash in your bank will go down in value every single day. People will be desperate to park their money elsewhere. Asset prices will explode as money becomes worthless, whether that's gold, real estate, stocks, art, land, everything is going to go through the roof as currencies begin to collapse. Reason number 4, QE4, or QE infinity as some are calling it. QE2, QE3 pushed the gold price to almost $2,000 an ounce a few years back. The Fed finally stopped printing money and began talking markets down about how it was going to normalize the assets on its bank sheet and start increasing interest rates. But that was mostly all it was. It was just talk. We had a few rate rises, and then the moment the market drops by 20%, the Fed talks about, maybe we'll have QE as being a way of life, constant money printing. QE4 is a key to debasement of the currency completely. Reason number 5, Basel III. Basel III is a set of international banking regulations developed by the Bank for International Settlements in order to promote stability in the international financial system. The purpose of Basel III is to reduce the ability of banks to damage the economy by taking on excess risk. With that in mind, banks must hold more capital against their assets, thereby decreasing the size of their balance sheets and their ability to leverage themselves. While these regulations were under discussion prior to the financial crisis, their necessity is... So what does this mean for gold? Well, gold is going to be called Tier 1 capital from now on. That means that it is now on par with top-tier government debt as securities, US Treasuries, ECB Treasuries, and so on. Why is that a good thing? What that means is that gold is valued at its market value. Believe it or not, in the 80s, when all central banks were selling gold and the price was going down, Gold was not marked at its fair value. It was marked at a discount, because if a bank wanted to sell some gold into a market when prices were falling and all other banks were selling, then it might not get full value for its gold, incredibly. That's all changed. Banks are now buying gold aggressively, as we already saw, which means that the value of gold on banks' balance sheets is now going to be marked at 100% of its value. I'd argue that gold is a better asset than US government debt and other international debt, because number one, it cannot be frozen like using the SWIFT payment system. Number two, it cannot be debased by a country printing tons and tons of its own currency. And number three, it can't be defaulted on. Gold in your vault is the best thing a bank can hold. This is nothing less than the total remonetization of gold by central banks. So there you go, 5 reasons to buy gold right now. It's an excellent investment, it's got long-term prospects, the currencies around us are falling apart, the banks and the rich people are all starting to buy. Get on board, you won't regret it. Thanks very much, we'll see you again in a few weeks. Thanks for watching this video. To learn more or invest today, visit AtlanticGoldSilver.com. To subscribe, click the button at the bottom of the screen and you'll be notified when we post new content. Also, don't forget to click share to send this video to friends and family members.